Hello everybody and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room. Good to be back for another episode of Tuesday Night Chat Room. Thank you to everybody who's already in the live chat. Good to see. And everybody who's just joining the stream. Hello Kloppish, hello Eddie Cent, Chop. Yep, I know, 3 minutes late. What are you going to do about it? That's show business. Another nice action-packed show for you today. A few things to get through, of course. The headline, which we always save till last, so do stick around for that. Just want to have a bit of a discussion about Jude Bellingham. It's the story of the summer, isn't it? It's the story of multiple summers. Feels like maybe it's reaching a crescendo. Maybe it's just going to flatline out of nowhere. Who knows? Let's see what happens with that. But of course, more to get into on that later. Hello, Anissa. Hope you're doing well. I also wanted to talk about Sadio Mane. I know he's not a Liverpool player anymore. I know we've talked about it to death. But I do just want to cover it one last time in regards to just a little segment that came out in one of James Pearce's most recent reports about how we did actually want to renew his contract, but it just felt like it wasn't what he wanted to do. He was fully invested in moving on, which we kind of knew about, but again, to kind of have that confirmed by a bit more of a reliable source is interesting, and we can discuss that, of course. And then also Salah's new contract, which was confirmed fantastically last week, and of course we're all very happy to hear that he will be staying for at least another 3 years or so. Great news. And the massive thing, which was, of course, it's breaking our wage structure slightly, not as much as we initially thought. It's not 400,000, it's more along the lines of 350, 375, which is still mental and still a good £100,000 a week more than Virgil van Dijk. But he is staying, and apparently there's not too much of a problem with that amongst the players. How long that will last, though, is what I'm interested in. It's all well and good saying, oh yeah, we don't mind, he deserves it, we don't care. But give it time, and I'm sure a few of them might be knocking on that door, especially as their contracts start to run out a little bit. Anissa says Liverpool social media team had us on strings with that Salah announcement. Mate, that Salah announcement was crazy. I think we give our marketing team quite a lot of stick for their announcements, and I'll admit they've been pretty poor the last couple of years. I think Luis Diaz was pretty bad. Darwin Núñez was pretty uninspired. Calvin Ramsey was pretty uninspired. Fabio Carvalho almost forgot he'd bloody signed. It was so here he is, welcome. There he is holding the shirt. Nothing really inspired. I mean, probably one of the best ones that I've seen, to be fair, was Paul Pogba when he moved back to Man United. A little bit cringe, with Stormzy coming out, and considering the way that transfer's gone, looking back on it, it's a little bit silly. But at the time, that went hard. So the way that we went about this one, setting it up with Salah's agent, that they, as you said, had us all on absolute strings. I was bloody fuming when I looked on Twitter and saw his stupid laughing emoji once again. And for the clubs to orchestrate that, I mean, that just shows you they are watching Twitter, aren't they? They don't listen to a thing we say. Obviously, I wouldn't expect some of the finest minds in football to listen to what we have to say on Twitter or on the LFC Transfer Room, or even more specifically on the chat room, 20 of us lot. But they do watch it, don't they? They do see what's going on. They've seen what happens. There's been plenty of pictures of, I forget the agent's name, but there's been plenty of pictures of him, smiling and laughing with the likes of Michael Edwards and Mo Salah. The thing we've got to remember about that is that for them it is just work, isn't it? Maybe some of them are fans of the club, and when we're playing they want us to win because it's their employer. So there's that instant, kind of get behind them kind of thing. But for us, it's a lot more deep-rooted when we see the agent of a player that we love and hold up as a hero seemingly taking the piss out of us. It hits a lot more deeply, doesn't it? And we're all a bit like, whoa, stop that now. And we attach it to the player, and suddenly we don't like the player as much. We want them to get out, don't we? Thank you, Ayush, for reminding me. Rami Abbas was his name, Salah's agent. But, for Michael Edwards, Julian Ward, it's a bit of an inconvenience, isn't it? It kind of maybe looks bad on your CV a tiny bit, but at the end of the day, It's just work, isn't it? And they got it over the line. They've had a laugh about it, and they got us good. And hopefully, it just means we don't have to hear about him for a while. At least until his next contract. But I think this is his final contract with Liverpool, isn't it? Unless he is at record-breaking levels in 3 years' time. I don't know. His body is a temple, but can he go into his late 30s? We'll see. Jen, thank you very much for the donation. I didn't miss it. Much appreciated. And thank you for the super sticker. But before we do get into the show proper, that was a nice little intro segment. Please do like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out massively. And if you'd like to, do consider becoming a member as well. You can get exclusive badges and stickers for the chat, similar to like what Jen has next to her name or what I have next to my name if you go to the back of the chat. So do get involved in that. And of course, before we get into it, I've got to remind you, it's less than a week now, less than 7 days until we're back in action. Pre-season underway. Players got back yesterday, didn't they? A few of the internationals still off on a bit of extended holiday. Your Virgil van Dijks, your Trents, etc. But they'll be back in a couple of days. And then next Tuesday afternoon, it's Liverpool versus Man United over in Thailand. So our first mini trip for the pre-season. Looking forward to that. So we'll be here for live watch-along of that. So make sure you do stick around. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a massive one because there's... some of you guys might have found us the same way, but a lot of people will go onto YouTube hoping to find a live stream, and they'll stumble onto little old me doing a silly little watch along. So it's going to be a big one. Hopefully, we'll get lots of new people in the live chat as well, and some of them might stick around, so that'll be good. So yeah, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, get involved. Let's crack on with it. So we've been a little bit starved of any real news this last few days, but James Pearce has been kind enough to release an article which we can delve into a little bit of a few big talking points. First of all, that senior Anfield figures insist they would have tried to renew Sadio Mane's contract too during this summer, but unlike Mohamed Salah, his heart was set on a new challenge. Now, of course, I know a lot of people say that James Pearce has fallen out of favour with the club, and I certainly think to a large extent that is true. He's definitely not as in the know as he used to be. I think he's much more reserved now as well. In terms of he's not going to announce anything until he knows it. But he's definitely been wrong on a couple of things. It doesn't come to mind exactly what, but there we go. I'm just yammering on now at this point. We all knew this, as I said at the start of the show. We all knew this was Sadio Mane's wish. He felt that he had achieved all that he could. He felt that he wanted one more big challenge, one more bigger payday slightly. And he's decided to go to Bayern Munich, and that is done. That is out of the way. Thank you very much, Sadio, for your service. But at the same time, I think it's nice to reflect on your legends. Would you call him a legend? Let's get that going in the live chat. Would you call Sadio Mane a Liverpool legend? I think it's hard with the word legend because it just sounds like such an old word, doesn't it? It sounds like something you'd apply to someone from a vintage era, back in the day kind of thing, doesn't it? It's hard to think of a modern day legend unless they are out of this world, such as Ronaldo or Messi, which the real iShow Speed has just put in the live chat. Thank you very much. Cliff Jackson says, "Don't see Bellingham happening till next summer." Well, we'll talk about that later in the show, definitely. Anissa says Julian Ward's probably got burner accounts. Oh, for sure. I'm convinced Jurgen Klopp has got burner accounts as well. For sure. He knows too much. He makes too many references to things that we all say on Twitter. There's no way he's not on there somehow. Anissa says, no journalists are in the know when it comes to Liverpool. I like that we move mysteriously. Yeah, I mean, Paul Joyce, even then, like, he's not a tap-in merchant, but it's like he doesn't know anything until the club's done it, really. Like, I don't think he didn't announce the Salah deal. He posted about Núñez, but then again, it was so out in the open that it was basically done. So, yeah, no, you're right. Paul Joyce, I guess the difference with him is he will not say anything until it's done, and I guess that's not being in the know, is it? That's just being in the right place at the right time. Jace is definitely a legend. Yes, so let's get into this a little bit with Sadio Mane. what I always say, and I hate to repeat I know I repeat myself so many times on these shows. So if you are a long-term viewer, I do apologise. It's becoming just one big repeat, isn't it? But the main difference between Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah up until he signed the contract extension was the way that they'd gone about their transfer business. Make sure you like and subscribe, everybody. I can see we've got loads of people joining, so please do get involved. It helps us out massively on that front. The way that they went about their transfer business, wasn't it? Mo Salah, quite vocal. His agent was doing bits, pissing us off. But luckily that all got resolved. Sadio Mane, on the other hand, nobody knew he was leaving. Nobody had a clue. Some people wanted him gone until, he came back in the second half of the season and improved. But nobody knew what was going on until the Champions League final a few days before that, when he said, I've got a big announcement. Sent all of our hearts racing, and we all kind of knew what that announcement was going to be. I was so deluded, and I had an idea that he was going to sign a lifetime contract, because his quote was something along the lines of, I've got a massive announcement to make and I can't wait to tell you all, or something like that. Brian, thank you very much for subscribing, much appreciated, and I hope a few more of you do consider pressing that subscribe button. We're going to be here all the way through pre-season. It's not long now, just 6 days to go until the Man United game, and then of course the season getting underway with the Community Shield at the end of July. We'll be here for all of that, all your content, all day, every day, or most of the time, all day, every day. So do subscribe and like the video as well. He said, I've got a massive announcement to make and I hope you're all going to like it, or I can't wait to share it with you. So when he said that, I was like, okay, he's talking to us, the Liverpool fans, and he can't wait for us to hear it, or he's really excited about it. So in my head, I was like, no, he ain't going. He's signing a lifetime contract, which is a nice little bonus, isn't it? Not to be, of course, obviously he was going. I've always felt that Salah is determined to be one of Liverpool's greatest players. Don't think Mane had the same aim. Yeah, I don't know if Salah wants to be Liverpool's greatest. I think he wants to be one of the greatest footballers ever. I think whilst he's obviously shown commitment signing that contract, he wouldn't have had a problem moving on, would he? Really, we found a compromise, and that's great. But I don't think. We've got to remember this. We hold players to the same standards we hold ourselves, don't we? We think you sign for Liverpool, you get ingrained in the culture, and that's it. You love the club, and if you go anywhere else, you're the devil. How dare you? Especially if you're a really good player. But the same as I was saying for Julian Ward and Michael Edwards. At the end of the day, it's a job, and they want to do what's best for them. Winning a trophy with Liverpool is great, but it's a trophy for themselves. It's an accomplishment for themselves and their legacy, isn't it? So, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's the way the world works, isn't it? You get the odd one or two, your Trents, your Stevie G's, your Jordan Hendersons who completely fall in love with it and want to stick around because they are part of that culture. It was a bit weird when he said that we'd be excited about it. Exactly. Someone else gets what I'm saying. That Mane announcement was so strange. But anyway, getting back onto the main point of James Pearce's article, he basically said what we knew, which was that we would have liked to renew it, but his heart was set on a new challenge. And just to confirm that, I just want to say I'm more than happy. That doesn't. It sits fine with me. I don't think anyone was angry about it. It's all good. It's all good. Cliff Jackson said, I don't think it was just Mane who wasn't focused against Madrid. Events unfolding outside the ground had an effect on the whole team. The whole team, but both teams. Both teams as well. Don't get the Madrid talk. We lost because of Courtois. Yeah, I do. But, we've had some Madrid or outside fans coming onto our channel and leaving comments on stuff, calling us deluded and what have you. Bollocks, mate. They were shit. And I've seen this account, who I had a lot of respect for, and I know it's just a difference of opinion, but they're like this big football Twitter, like tactical account. They are quite good, and they go into a lot of detail on stuff and really share a new light on stuff. But they were talking about how Ancelotti's way of playing with this Madrid team is going to become a lot more viable to clubs in future because it relies on moments. I know that's not the whole of what they were saying, but they were basically saying oh yeah, it's actually okay to be on the back foot and a bit shit as long as you've got players who can produce moments. And I'm like, mate, that's Man United. That was Man United before they just lost all sense of being a team. Ronaldo has moments, but that doesn't guarantee you success. I won't have it any other way that Real Madrid didn't sleaze their way through that Champions League campaign. I was more than thrilled that they managed to beat Chelsea and Man City, but they were so bad throughout all four of those ties. And apart from Courtois and Carvajal, which I can't bloody believe, they weren't that good against us either. We would have had against any other keeper on any other day 2 or 3 goals, and also the Benzema goal. No, the Vinicius Junior goal was bloody offside. It was offside. Benzema was in an offside position, but I've got myself heated. Let's cool it down. We're not talking about that. It's a new season. We're officially into new season territory. So we wipe the slate clean. We wipe the scoreboards. The league resets. Arsenal are top again, which they're happy with. It's the best time of season to be an Arsenal fan, the very beginning, because they're at the top of the league. Interesting training today at Liverpool. Klopp's back, not surprising. But for me, the including of 9 academy players was very interesting, especially Luke Chambers, the new European champion. Well, it's something they do every year. You know, Leighton Clarkson, Tyler Morton's been back there, that Fraundorf kid. There's lots of them, and you'll see lots of them going on all the tours as well. I expect a lot of the team that faces Man United in one of the halves will be made up of a lot of those youth players. That's what pre-season's for. I mean, I don't know what you mean by surprising, but it doesn't surprise me at all to see that many of them. I do believe that getting Diaz in Jan makes me think the club knew he wanted to go. It's not sustainable relying on moments, says Anissa. Absolutely. If we started Firmino and not Diaz, we would have won. Well, it's easy to say that, isn't it? It's easy to say that. And Jen says Ronaldo is a one-man prat. I mean, I can't stand him. I hate him. And he can't fly to America without getting arrested. I think that tells you a lot. But at the end of the day, you've got to admit he's decent at football. Ronaldo is decent at football when you put all of your rivalry and hatred to one side. Of course, this is the chat room. So this is now that we're starting to become a slightly more busier channel is I think the best way to put it. We've got a lot of regular listeners who do get involved in the live chat. It's harder when there's 3 or 4 of us on a show to constantly be going to the live chat and picking up comments there. So the chat room is a really good chance for us to focus on the core of this channel, which is you, the viewers. So do get involved in the live chat, and I'll try to read out as many as possible. If you've got questions, if you've got topics, the chat room is the place for that. The chat room is, of course, by the viewers, for the viewers, so please do get involved into that. And Olawu, thank you very much, has followed up straight away by saying, which academy players are you looking forward to seeing in pre-season? I'm desperate to see Tyler Morton play again. He's just likeable. He's just a likeable workhorse, and I would love to see him get even more involved and play a bigger part in it. Leighton Clarkson, of course, back from loan, I believe. Always good. I really like to see youth midfielders get a go, and in the past few years, I think the midfield, you can see Klopp is invested at every level of the club, because we saw bloody Chiravella and Kane, not Harry Kane, but our Kane before he went, coming into the team and bossing a midfield, and you could just see they were playing exactly how our first team players would play, obviously lacking that world-class quality necessarily, but you could see it's there. That's what the likes of Klopp and Guardiola and Louis van Gaal back in the day do. They get the whole club on the same page, and that's what creates a lasting winning mentality and keeps churning out those great players, either to become first team members or to sell for a good profit. Anissa says, Louis, what do you make of Gary Neville's comments on Salah playing us? I think it's a bit rich coming from him when United literally pay useless players obscene wages. Absolutely. I mean, you can't rise to it, because at the end of the day, Gary Neville that's his only way to relevancy at the moment, isn't it? He doesn't really want to criticise Man United that much, being his own team, and he can't celebrate anything they do because he would just be celebrating mediocrity, wouldn't he? So all he's got is criticising rivals like Liverpool and trying to, get clicks and start beef for that. I mean, I'm no person to talk about getting clicks. I've titled this "Hey Jude," so we're all guilty of it, right? But he's trying to get stuff. He's trying to get you all mad and angry. So just leave him alone. Oliver says Gary Neville was a joke. Hyla says new Joe Gomez contract now a top priority for Liverpool. Not hardly groundbreaking news at the top of lists at Liverpool these days. No, exactly. And Barat Mane, thank you for getting involved, says unpopular opinion. Take away the Salah penalty. He's an average player in the sense he is not better than Jota or Mane. Huh? Whoa. He's not even our bloody penalty taker. I mean, this year he has been, but most seasons he's been with us. He hasn't been our primary penalty taker. I think you need to reevaluate that. Mods, we've got a weird thing in the chat. Make sure you do get rid of that, please. 6-time UCL winner says, just join the stream. What's the news on Jude Bellingham? We'll get to that. Thank you very much for joining, and I hope you do enjoy being here. Thank you very much for getting involved. If you are new or you haven't done so already, please do like this video. Please do subscribe to the channel. This is the chat room on the LFC Transfer Room. This is for the viewers, by the viewers. We're here to get your questions as well as the topics I've got lined up. But it's popping off in the live chat, so I will keep on coming back to it as and when I see something. What do you think of Firmino to Juventus? It's interesting. I think if you'd have asked us 2-3 months ago who you'd probably assume would be leaving that original front three in the summer, I'd have definitely said Firmino out of any of them, but Mane's gone, so I don't think we can afford to lose another. I think as a bench option, as someone who could potentially come back and reinvent themselves or just get back into form, absolutely he could do that. Yeah, mods, just keep an eye on the chat. We've got that bloody person in there. I'm not on YouTube, so I can't block him. But yeah, just keep getting rid of that. Louis, does the number 10 shirt being vacant make you think we'll get one more player in? It certainly seems like a bit of a statement, doesn't it? Because again, they know exactly what we're looking at and what we're thinking, and to not have a number 10 shirt filled for a player, it's either it would indicate that we're getting someone for him. Whether that's this season or not, whether it's Bellingham or not, is another discussion entirely, isn't it? Let's move on a little bit, just whilst we get rid of these bloody bots in the chat. I'll go over the next story, which is about Salah, so it ties in quite nicely with some of the things we've been talking about. Again, thank you very much for watching. Please like the video. Please press that subscribe button as well before the season gets cracking underway. James Pearce again, coming from his article, says there's certainly no sense of envy among the other senior players in the dressing room. Their attitude is that Mohamed Salah deserves every penalty. Right. About that, let's get into it. Certainly no sense of envy among the other senior players in the dressing room. Exactly. This was something that I was slightly worried about, and maybe I'm being proved wrong, but I think maybe not. I thought if we handed Salah exactly what he was looking for, or if we went after Bellingham and gave him mega bots, it would upset the dressing room to a degree, not cause unrest, but you'd get players knocking on the door saying, well, Salah's on over 350k. I'm only on 100 something. I'm only on 200 something, which again, sounds bizarre, doesn't it? But that conversation about players earning too much money has been done to death. I'm not here for it. I'm not here to do that again and retread on. There's nothing new that I can add to that conversation, is there? But I can talk to you about this one. Apparently, the players are fine with it. And I think that's all well and good. I won't concede defeat just yet. I think that's all well and good now, having secured Mo Salah. He's obviously very popular. They obviously know how good he is, how crucial he is to our chances of winning competitions. Whether he has a bad couple of months or not, the rest of the time he's banging in goals, winning us games, winning us trophies. Obviously, they're happy with that. It's been no secret that a lot of the players have had conversations with him, tried to get him to sign. Harvey Elliott's been desperately trying to convince him to sign every day, apparently. And that's fine. I totally believe that the players are happy and they're at the minute. There's no sense of envy. But it's not about here and now. It's not about just after it's happened. It's a few months down the line, or it's a year or two down the line, when Virgil van Dijk's contract starts to run out, when, dare I say, Trent's contract starts to run out, Fabinho's contract starts to run out. Who else is there? Jota, when his contract starts to run down, he'll be thinking, I've stepped up, I've done well. I've maybe after this season, maybe he'll have filled the boots of Sadio Mane a little bit. I don't know. Anissa says the wage structure is probably more complex than we think. The gap between Salah's and other wages is probably not as big as we think. Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, there is no way for us to be 100% fully accurate without it being, published by the club. What I would say is that it's pretty much there. Like, there's a general understanding that up until now, it was probably Virgil van Dijk as one of the best paid players at around £275,000 a week. Salah's now on about 350 to 375. But all of their wages, as you say, it's more complex. All of their wages include performance bonuses, which Liverpool are quite keen on. And I think because of the performance bonuses, that means that we are one of the most expensive wage teams out there, which is an important clarification to make, I think. Jen says the squad knew what was going on with Mo, who they were sick of it as well. And Marcelo, thank you for getting involved, says Nuno is an upgrade on centre-forward position where we had Mane, who's not that type of player. I think ultimately, if you had to pick between the two, we've absolutely made the right decision, and I don't think anybody would disagree with that. I think even though Mane, to some degrees, reinvented himself, and he could still go on and do very well for another couple of years, I'm pretty convinced his best is behind him. Whereas Salah, we all seem to think he's probably got that longevity to him. He's had a bad couple of months, not as bad as a lot of people think. It's been wildly over-exaggerated because his goals plummeted, but everything else was pretty similar. His luck just ran out kind of, and teams just started, marking him out of games, doubling up on him. It was just a lot harder, especially coming off of the back of two psychological blows, not making it to the World Cup and losing the AFCON final after playing like 5 games in a row, going the full distance of extra time and penalties. It's difficult. I am 90% sure, and I'll stick my neck out on the line on this, that he is going to fly out of the blocks next season. He's going to take no prisoners. He's going to be determined to shut everyone up and get on with it, especially now that his contract situation is solved. Fabio says, man, I was looking at some photos from the second day session, and I saw Nat Phillips. Is he leaving or not? Do you think if he stays, is Gomez leaving? Well, there was that weird rumour, wasn't there? To be fair, I'll give you that. It's very, very quiet on the whole Nat Phillips front. It looked certain that he was going to go to Bournemouth or go to another lower Premier League team, or maybe go back out on loan again. It's got incredibly quiet on that front, hasn't it? And do you remember there was that really weird rumour, which I loved so much, and I don't mean that sarcastically. I love this idea just because I love Nat Phillips. Nathaniel Deeney. No, hang on. What is it? Nathaniel Deeney Van Phillips. Something like that. But I love the guy, and I want him to stay. There was that weird rumour that went around saying that Liverpool want to keep Nat Phillips around now, especially since he signed that 5-year deal, because they think he could be a long-term replacement for Joel Matip. And I think that is so funny. I will never, ever forget that rumour. A lot of rumours come and go, but I will never forget that rumour. There's been no mention of it since. There's been nothing about Nat Phillips for a good few weeks now. But I will never forget that apparently people at Liverpool think Nat Phillips could be a long-term replacement for Joel Matip. And I don't doubt it for a second. I am fully on board the Nat Phillips long-term successor of Joel Matip. I'm down for that. Nathan Maldini Phillips says Oluwu. Yeah, exactly. Marcelo says, you'll see, guys, how much clear number 9 will bring to this team. It will be amazing to watch. Yeah, it's going to change our tactics for sure, absolutely. I think it was the right time to break up the original front three. Things were getting a bit stale, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, whether we needed to break it up or not and sell, maybe not. as it says there, we would have happily re-signed him, but he wanted a new challenge. To have those three still about, and Jota, Nunes, and Diaz, that's incredible. But, you know, obviously, realistically, we had to lose one of them, didn't we? You can't have 6 out-and-out attackers vying for 3 spots where you're trying to get some consistency and some teamwork. It's a bit harder to do that. Daniel says, we're actually going to sign Jude this summer. We'll get onto that in a little bit, Daniel. Thank you very much for joining. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, everybody. It's massively appreciated. And I'm loving the show so far. You know, the chat room, it's really growing into its own little show, and the live chat is just getting busier and busier, which is great to see. So please do stick around and get involved as well. If you've got any questions, any topics, be more than happy to go through some of them. If we do sell Gomez, which I don't want, we should get Timber from Ajax. Yeah, I know Timber's been linked with Man United a lot. And Erik ten Hag's just picking up, trying to find any Dutch player he can, isn't he? Any Dutch or former Ajax player that he can. Marcelo says, I believe Ox will step up in next season, and he'll step up big time. I think he's definitely going to get more minutes. Whether he can step up or not, I don't know. If he has a run of 8, 9, 10 games and he does okay, brilliant. But I'm looking for someone to change the game, step up and be, you know, brilliant. Give us something we haven't seen before. And I just don't think that's Ox. I think he could be okay. He's a good squad option, but for me, the jury's still out. Do you think Bobby is leaving? No, I answered that a little bit earlier, but you know. Sorry, no shade to you at all, Christian. No, I think we can't. 3 months ago, I would have said yes. Now that Mane's gone, no, I think we keep him. I think he does well on the bench. If he wants to go, then maybe, but we don't know that until anything comes out. Let's talk about Bellingham for a little bit, because I know that's what a lot of people are doing here. Thank you very much for joining. Again, before we start, please like the video, please subscribe. If you want to become a member, you can press the join button or the link in the video description. It's £3.99 a month, so as much, you know, a little bit more than a meal deal, 1 meal deal for a whole month, and that'll get you some exclusive content, more coming in the future. But it's mainly just a way to support us. You know, if you like our stuff, if you like some of us, maybe not me, but you can help us. All the money goes straight back into the channel, equipment, setups like this, which look incredible, and it's just a great community to be a part of. So if you'd like to support that, become a bit more of a central part of it, then you could do that as well. Link in the video description, and Discord is also there as well. Liverpool here are recognised as the best team in the world, who were hugely unlucky at the end of the season. Well, it's good to know. In Croatia, yeah, that's good to know. I'd love to go. I haven't been to Croatia yet. I was meant to go there on holiday, but we had to change plans. But would very much like to visit. Bellingham will sign, says Gary. Gary's turning into an optimist. Gary's turning into the new Matty on this channel. He's just bloody positive about everything, and you've got to commend it. Oluwu says Naby and Ben Legend Davis for Bellingham. Bloody hell, I don't. They'd be like, who? Who? You're not you can't sell us a fake person. He doesn't exist. We can't take him. Yeah, let's talk about Bellingham. So the figure stands at £100 million or 120 million euros. That's reportedly what Dortmund have set, while simultaneously putting out there that essentially that he's not for sale, which I do find interesting. Sebastian Kehl, Dortmund sporting director, to you I say, if he's not for sale, why have you put a price tag on him? This is where it gets interesting, and this is once again the whole FSG, Julian Ward, our budget, how much we're willing to spend comes into everything. What they've done is they've put it out there. They've said £100 million is his price tag. We've sold Haaland, but if you offer us that much, you can have him. So the ball's in our court. If that's true, and I don't know exactly how true that is, I don't know if it's been confirmed by like top tier sources or not. If that's true, it's in our court, isn't it? And immediately the pressure is on FSG and Julian Ward to get that over the line. A lot of people are going to say, sod it, he's worth it. You may agree with that, you may not. Is he a £100 million player? Is he a £120 million player? I don't know. £80 million definitely sits more right with me, but it's still mental, isn't it, for someone who's 18 years old, playing in the German league. It's still a crazy sum of money, isn't it? But it's a long-term investment for somebody so young with such a high ceiling, it appears to be. So we'll see what happens with that one. We'll see what happens. If we want him, if they're serious, they'll get him. But I don't want to go too deep into this. I don't want to have too much of an opinion, because at the end of the day, we don't know whether that's true, and we don't know what Liverpool's side of this story is. If they actually said £100 million would get him, or is that just what's reported? I don't know. Let's get some opinions in on this, because I'm a bit stuck on this one. I don't want to go too in on either side. Naby Keita plus 50 million. I don't think so. I don't think Klopp wants to get rid of Naby Keita at all. I think he still sees a player there. Anissa says, also the fact Dortmund didn't get a monster fee for Haaland makes me think there's a small chance this summer. Yeah, I can see what your thinking is for that, although I think there was a lot of underhand money that went into that deal, so I'm sure they've actually done all right out of it. The number 10 shirt is vacant. Yeah, we picked up on that a bit earlier in the stream, and I agree. I think that's absolutely an intentional move by the club to garner some press, garner some attention, because they know we'll pick up on stuff like that. You know, we're not stupid. Cliff says if he has another big season at Dortmund, his price tag could go up more, so it's a catch-22. Yeah, I mean, how much do you think his price tag could go up to? It would be a year less on his contract, a year older, a year better. But then again, I think his value's maxed out. I think his value's maxed out at Dortmund. I don't think he's ever more than £100 million player. There's a World Cup this year. He's playing in a crap Dortmund side who aren't going to do anything in Europe. He's going to the World Cup, but he's playing under Gareth Southgate, so he's not going to get a chance to shine on the global stage. They're not going to do anything in the Champions League, as I said. They're going to get bitched about again by Bayern Munich, and he doesn't have Haaland to ping balls into. So, I don't see it. I don't see it. I think his value is maxed out there. I think 80 to £100 million is the most we would ever have to pay for him there, unless it became a bidding war. But then that's that's kind of down to player choice and who he wants to go to. And by all accounts, you'd hope he wants to come to us, and that's certainly what some of the noise is. But again, not confirmed. Daniel says, realistically, we won't spend over £200 million in one window. Most probably get him next summer. Yeah, again, that's based on our past. That is very plausible. And Marcelo Brozovic says, sorry guys, but Bellingham is not the player we need now. We need Barella today because this is our window, and we need developed players good enough for this team. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting you talk about developed players. I can't remember what the reported fee for Barella would be, but he's not cheap either. And when you look at some of the stats, I had him on last week, I think, comparing Jude Bellingham to Nicolas Barella, or was it Naby Keita and Barella? I can't remember. But I know for a fact that Bellingham and Barella's overall stats are actually not that far apart, and he's that much younger. So to say he's not the player we need now, we need Barella. But they're similar players, and they've got the same kind of output. So I don't know, maybe you take that risk for a slightly bigger fee. I don't know. The sum Dortmund got for the Haaland deal was decided the day he signed for Dortmund, so not surprising for Dortmund, says Hyla. Barat says, Keita is the worst Klopp signing in my opinion. His game in the Champions League final was so bad. Well, that's where you've got to take a step back and try to be a little bit more objective about it. I've said this. I've said him skyrocketing that ball over the bar when we needed a goal to get back into it, that has stuck in people's minds so badly and undermined an otherwise decent season for Naby Keita. The most football he's played for us, the best he's looked. He's looked really good at times. Over-criticised because of the bias against him. I'm not saying there's an agenda against him, but obviously he's been injured a lot. At Leipzig, he had red card records, and he made a couple of mistakes. So then suddenly the spotlight was on him massively for large portions of that season. But his numbers were great. Maybe not in out-and-out assists and goals, but again, as I always say, that's not necessarily the role of a Klopp midfield. A lot of people want it to be, but throughout Klopp's time, the midfield has always underperformed in that category, which you have to ask yourself, is that because Klopp just can't get a midfield to work when he's got our defence and attack so brilliant and lethal? Is he just not able to build a midfield? Or is that the way he wants his midfield to be? Has he got a different role in mind for them? So I think that's something to bear in mind. I think Keita is the worst Klopp signing. I think that's probably a bit too far. I think there's others who've maybe not done as well. Marko Grujic, for example, barely played for the team as well at all. I think there's others out there. Gary says, Louis, as long as Madrid and City don't get him, much like Nunes, Liverpool should get him. Jude, get him, come on in, says Jen, and Oluwu says Barella this window and Bellingham the next. Just don't think that's the way the club operates, is it? When we're not going to, apart from when it was absolutely vital when we got Kabak and Ben Davis, we're not going to sign someone as a stopgap. It just isn't the way we work. And Christian says, do you think Bellingham will be asking for large wages? So, if you go to, there's a video from the chat room that was clipped and then posted out called Why Liverpool Can't Sign Bellingham or something along that line. Go and watch that. It's me ranting about his wages, basically. But the long and short of it, because I'm not pushing you away from this and I want to be inclusive, the long and short of it was that he's on about, I couldn't find the exact number. It was something like £50,000 a week. Something in that region. I want to say 50 to 70, somewhere along that line. But I said if he came to us, it would be easily over 100,000. I'd say, let's say 150. He's 18, 5-year deal, plays for 3 years, does brilliantly. Then we've got to start thinking about a new contract. Instantly, that's going into the £200,000 territory. So it wasn't necessarily about large wages at the beginning, but it was how quickly his wages would rise, considering how young he is and how often we need to give him a new contract. And I was saying by the time he gets into his prime years, 27, 28, he's already one of our, if not our highest earning player at that point, because of how young he is and how many contracts it would take to get him to that point. So, if you want that in a little bit more detail, a bit more ranty, do go and check that video out after this stream as well. Thank you for everybody who is here and still watching. Massively appreciated. Love all the support in the live chat and everybody who's just watching, going about their evening, day, whatever. But please do like this video as well. Press that like button. It's massively helping for us. And if you haven't done so already, for all your Liverpool content, transfer news, daily news, match build-up, match commentary, post-match reaction, all that good stuff, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are a great place to be. We've got a great community as well, as you can see in the live chat. And I think a lot of us are likeable. You might not like me, but there's somebody out there in the LFC transfer room for you. So stick around. There's plenty of us. We're not a one-man band. We're a multifaceted band. We've got all sorts. So please do press that subscribe button as well. As pre-season approaches, with Man United coming up next Tuesday, I'll be doing a live watch-along for that, and that's going to be a big one. I'm telling you that now. Marcelo says, again, guys, we can't spend Klopp's prime in developing Bellingham. We need Barella from Inter, who is at this moment top 3 midfielders in the world. Oh, top 3 midfielders in the world, eh? I mean, I've just told you his numbers are pretty similar to Bellingham. I don't know. Part of an Italy team that crashed out. Is not going to the World Cup. Playing in the Italian league, known for being a lot slower. I don't know. I think we're maybe overestimating him slightly. I'm not saying he isn't brilliant. I'm not saying he couldn't make a difference. But, to discount Bellingham, who we get more out of for longer, definitely has a higher ceiling. I'm telling you that now. And it's not like he's a complete upstart, is it? He's obviously performing very, very well. We wouldn't have to develop him huge to get something out of him, would we? But again, that's your opinion, and I more than respect it. OISQ says, if he'd scored that shot and we won, then would we consider the signing of Naby a success? One game shouldn't define the player. Yeah, I agree with that completely. What time UK is the Man United game next week? I know it's in Thailand, so is it something silly like 2 a.m? No, it's at like 2 p.m. for us. It's 2 p.m. kickoff for us, and I've taken the afternoon off work. I had 1 day left of annual leave, and I've taken half of it to do that watch along. So it'd be great to see you lot there, if possible. You can have the game on as well if you've got access to it. Have the game on, but have us there as well, the LFC transfer room, for a bit of extra spice and a bit of extra Liverpool content. So yeah, it'd be nice to see some of you over there. If we call the 21-22 season 1 in terms of that, Dr. Andreas Schlumberger has completely changed Liverpool's injury stats, and players like Matip and Keita have been given a new life. I think that's what Klopp's attitude towards Keita is. He's played the most football he's ever played at Liverpool this year. We can work with that. If he stays the same, we can do something next year. Arsenal for life, good to see you. Haven't missed you there. Hope you're doing well. Anissa says he's so young, got time to get that massive payday, so I think we could negotiate a wage we're comfortable with. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. First wage wouldn't be a problem. It's the long term that potentially could be a problem for further down the line for FSG. I don't bloody care if he earns more than anybody else, but FSG do care about how much they're spending on wages, obviously. So just bear that in mind. Jen says if the science team can improve Matip, then they need to do the same for Naby. Otherwise, sorry, but that's it. This is a defining season. I have no doubt in my mind. I'm not saying he's a nailed-on starter. This is a defining season for Joel Matip, for Naby Keita, and I am more than excited to see what he can offer and to see him, fight for a future, fight for a place if he wants to. Cliff says the fact we didn't get Tchouaméni makes Bellingham a number 1 target now. They must have decided on bringing a midfielder in prior to the window opening. Well, that's again part of the way that they work, isn't it? Tchouaméni was obviously the target, and we would have loved to have gotten him if he hadn't have decided to go to Real Madrid. And I think if Real Madrid got Bellingham or just weren't interested, we'd be sat here now and Tchouaméni would already be in training and be a part of the team. The thing is, though, Tchouaméni and Bellingham are 2 completely different players. They're both midfielders. They share that common thing. They're central midfielders, but they have 2 completely different roles in their respective teams, and they've got a vast array of different strengths among them. So it's not a case of, we didn't get Tchouaméni, but here's Bellingham. He'll offer the same. It's a completely different option that we're going for, and that I'm not saying takes time, but there's more consideration that needs to go into it rather than we didn't get Tchouaméni, so let's get Bellingham. You have to think about what you've got, what you need, because ultimately there's a wealth of great midfielders out there, isn't there? Eriksen's there for the taking. We could go in there and snatch him off Man United, no doubt at all, but we don't want him. There's nothing linking us to him. Messi's out there. You could probably tempt Messi somehow, I don't know, but it's not what we need right now. Yes, he's one of the best players ever, but we don't need him right now. We don't need that kind of player necessarily. And people are going to take that out of context and say, this deluded Liverpool fan thinks Liverpool don't need Lionel Messi, or Lionel Messi wouldn't make us better. I'm sure he would, but there's a lot of players you could sign and not enough spaces in a team. And it's not as easy as FIFA. Sod it, we'll sell, we'll get rid of Jota, we'll bin him off, or we'll just cancel his contract and we'll get Messi in, and that evens it out. That's great. It's not the way it works. And I know a lot of you guys know that, but there's obviously some muppets out there. Barella won't leave Italy. Italians rarely do. Yeah, good point as well. Oluwu says Barella is behind Milner and Fred in midfield ranking. Oof, I wouldn't want to side with you on that argument necessarily, but respect the dedication. Thank you very much. No, I think it's been another good show. Mods, get on it again. Christian says if we've gotten Tchouaméni, would we go for Bellingham? No, absolutely not. No way. If we'd have gotten Tchouaméni, would we have gotten Núñez? I don't know. I think that's a difficult question. I think that's a more relevant question. If we'd have gotten Tchouaméni, Bellingham, no consideration whatsoever, in my opinion. Maybe some people disagree. Maybe some people think we were always in for both of them. But for me, it's more a case if we would have gotten Tchouaméni, our first major target, would we have gotten Núñez? I don't know. I really wanted to see Messi in the Prem, but knew that the only team to get him would be City. Yeah, we don't want that, do we? Because he would thrive in a Man City team with just 10 other players solely there to get the ball into his feet, in and around the box. It would go off. He would break records, I think. Even at this age, he would do mental. Yeah, great show, as always. I really, really do enjoy the chat room, being able to just interact with you guys as well, getting your questions in, getting the live chat really booming, getting people talking in and amongst themselves as well. It's great to see, and it's made up a lot for the lack of football as well. But we will keep it going into the new season. Mods, get on that again. I need to I need to get this shit locked down because it's really pissing me off, and I'm sure it's pissing you lot off as well. Thank you very much, mods, for getting rid of that so quickly. It's great to see this community thriving as always. I'll say this every week because it's incredible. When we first introduced the chat room and there was a few of us doing it, we had we'd be thrilled if we got double digits of people watching. Like, we'd probably get like 8 or 9 people tuning in. And at this present time, we're on about 82. We've had over 100, and on other streams, we've gone beyond that. And to see so many people who just all share the same common thing, which is that we support Liverpool Football Club. Doesn't matter where we're from, what our background is, any of that cheesy stuff. We're all here watching little old me talking about this club and interacting with each other. And I think that's rad. So coming into the new season, I'll be doing this each week as well. Next week, it'll probably be a Monday show because, of course, we've got the game on Tuesday, and then I'm doing something else in the evening. So next week, Monday night chat room returns. It's not Tuesday, it's Monday night next week. Thank you very much to everybody who's been watching. Thank you for supporting. Please do like the video if you've forgotten to up until this point. There's still time. Please subscribe as well if you've enjoyed a little bit or you want to see some more. Please subscribe to the channel. And of course, you can become a member if you would like to support the channel further by pressing the join button or the link in the video description. Thank you very much for watching the LFC chat room with myself, Louis Fell. I will see you on Thursday, I think. But of course, we'll have Transfer Central tomorrow as well. Every single night at 7:30 we go live, so stick around for that. Louis, will you live cover the game against Man United on Tuesday? Yep, next Tuesday I will be there. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff, I believe, so we'll be here from about 1:30. So it'll be a proper watch along, just like the good old days, won't it? And I'm expecting it to be a big one. A lot of people are going to be looking for illegal streams, but we'll give them something better, a live watch along with the LFC transfer room. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you have a lovely evening and rest of your week. I'll see you when I see you, but of course, the LFC transfer room will see you before that, which will be live tomorrow and have content every single day. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you